Now, one person more than anyone else has forced this confrontation on the Liberals. National Senator Matt Canavan, the former Resources Minister. Last week, Canavan ran for the Nationals' leadership against leader David Littleproud. Never expected to win, just wanting Littleproud to know that he would be in huge trouble if the Nationals didn't back off the net zero target and if it didn't stick with nuclear energy. Littleproud sure got that message, to judge from today's coalition split. And joining me is Matt Canavan. Matt Canavan, thank you so much for joining me. You wanted to force not just the Nationals but the Liberals to stick with nuclear power. Did you actually want that to lead to this split in the coalition today?
No, Andrew, I didn't want the coalition to not continue in its current form. But what I do want, more than anything, is for us to take up the fight on behalf of Australia. As I said when I ran for the Nationals leadership last week, we are losing our industry, we are losing our jobs, we are losing our wealth as a country. We're a country in decline, and we've got to fight back. And look, I would prefer to be doing that with as many parliamentarians as possible, including those in the Liberal Party. But I do fully support David Littleproud today. I think he's shown conviction and courage to forcefully say that, look, we believe in the things that we fought for over the last few years. We believe in using all our energy resources. We believe in protecting small businesses and farmers. We believe in the development of our nation, the further development of this great pioneering nation. And so we will continue to take up that fight in the Parliament, obviously under different arrangements. Doing so means that David and some of my other colleagues take a pay cut. They've done this at personal cost, but obviously our country is much more important. I think what we need to do in the lead up to the next election is focus on saving Australia, not saving our party. The thing that has frustrated me so much in the last few years in Australian politics is there is far too much emphasis on exactly what little tweaks or changes in policy we need to make to win a seat based on focus groups and polling. Maybe, just maybe, we should actually just sit down and think and decide what we think is best for our country first, and then go and fight like hell for that.
I'm just wondering about the rush, Matt. This split comes just 8 days after Susan Lee became leader, promising consultation, just 4 days after she lost her mother, and after she reportedly said, "Give me time, I think we will agree on these 4 demands." Why pull the pin this fast?
Look, I wasn't involved in the discussions, Andrew, but my understanding is that this timeline was decided by Susan Lee, by the Liberal Party. Susan, understandably, wants to announce a shadow ministry. And so before announcing a shadow ministry, we have to have a coalition agreement in place if members of the Nationals Party are to be in that shadow ministry. And so, look, at least from the discussions I've had with my colleagues and with David, there was no rush from the Nationals Party. But it is also understandable. I can understand the position of Susan and the Liberal Party that they want to get their arrangements in place in the Parliament and in the shadow ministerial arrangements, and so that's what necessitated the decision today.
Does it say anything about the leadership of the Liberals, the party itself, that it wasn't in a position to straight away agree to those 4 central demands?
Look, it's hard for me to comment, and I don't really want to comment on matters for the Liberal Party. I wish them all the best. As David said today, there's no animosity here. It's not personal. As I've always said, this is a business relationship, not a marriage. Haven't fallen out of love with the Liberal Party or anything like that. It's just we haven't been able to agree on what's best for our country right now. We also need to make our own decisions now about issues like net zero emissions. Obviously, I've campaigned against that for years, and both parties have now committed to review that. This is perhaps also a positive there that we can, in the Nationals Party, have that debate squarely and laser-like focused on what is best for Australia. Obviously, we prioritise the interests of regional Australia, I mean, how much more do we have to lose of our industrial capacity, our manufacturing strength, before we do reflect on whether it is the best idea to almost unilaterally decide to change how we produce food, transport goods and people, and of course make electricity in just a generation. That's what net zero emissions goal calls for, and hardly any other country in the world is doing this. I think that issue is the fundamental one we need to discuss right now, and not being in a coalition agreement perhaps makes it simpler for the Nationals Party to focus on what we think is best, put that case forward, and then we'll see how we go fighting for it, and if we do come to a different decision, and I think it's important for the Australian people to have a choice on something as fundamental like this.
I also suspect that this is in part a warning shot to the coalition not to make a decision, particularly on nuclear, that then you can't agree with, to come together before the election. Is that how you see it? And do you expect now the Liberals to finally eventually agree to your demands and join again in a coalition with the Nationals before the election?
Look, it's a good point, Andrew. I think that decision will probably be out of the hands of the parliamentarians and up to the people. I think what's going to happen now is we'll see how our members of both political parties, how the people react to this situation. So far, at least, there's been a groundswell of support for our decision. My office has been inundated with calls from members of both the Liberal and Nationals Party supporting what we're doing, supporting the strong policy stances we are taking. And so I think it's over the people. It's over your viewers. If you support the Nationals Party, support us continuing nuclear, support us opening a question up about net zero emissions, well, get on to your local members of parliament, be they National or Liberal Party members. That pressure will probably have an influence over time. It has in before, when we've had decisions before us like the carbon tax and what have you. That pressure, if that builds and if we're successful at prosecuting our arguments for why we believe what the Nationals are doing, fighting for our country, fighting for our future, if that wins in the court of public opinion, that will flow back into a democratic process, into the positions of all political parties. So I think it's up to us to put that case strongly and marshal that support around the country to get the change we want in our own party, in other political parties, ultimately the Parliament, and ultimately to win elections as well.
Matt Canavan, thank you so much for your time.